Hey, so in this video, I want to talk to you about the break-even fee section in Profit Protector Pro. Now, this is a very important one, and this section in particular, I would advise it be one of the first things you set up when you start Profit Protector Pro. And if you haven't set it up, if you haven't come to this section and you've had Profit Protector Pro for a while, I'd advise coming along and taking a look at this section because it is very important. So the break-even fees section can be found when you go into account and then click on calculation settings, and it's underneath the min and max automation rules. So it's very important to have in place for a number of reasons. So it's important that Profit Protector Pro has this information to take into account for pretty much everything. So your profit and ROI estimates will be affected by what you have in the break-even fees, as well as your min and max automation prices. So if you've set up your rules to automate your min and max prices, it's important that you set this up as well, so that way you can calculate an accurate break-even, and it's going to take this into account in order to work out a min and max price that's going to work best for you. So in here you can enter in things like a prep fee, bundle fee, any extra fees which you can express as a regular value or a percentage. Then you can enter in your VAT status. Now, if you are in the US, it's important that you select not applicable, because that is the case. You won't be applicable for VAT. Otherwise, if you're in the UK or EU, you need to make sure that you select non-VAT registered if you aren't registered for VAT, or if you are, it will either be standard accounting or the flat fee scheme. Now, if you aren't sure which one you are, if you're VAT registered, you will 100% know if you are on the flat fee scheme. So if you aren't, it will most likely be standard accounting. So you just need to select that option. So just as a recap, US, not applicable. For UK and EU, one of these three options here. You can then toggle on if you want grocery VAT to be assumed at 20%. If you leave it off, it will be assumed at 0%. So as you know, in the UK, grocery items can have 0% VAT. So it's just up to you if you want grocery items to have that assumption of the 20% that is standard for most items in the UK in terms of VAT, or if you want it to be assumed at 0%. You can then enter in your shipping cost, and this can be per kilo or per pound. Then you can tell PPP if you are exempt from VAT on referral fees or FBA fees. So this is basically where you will have written to Amazon and requested to be VAT exempt on these fees, and they have written back to you and given you the permission to be exempt. So if you are exempt, you can mark yourself as such by clicking on it and selecting the exempt option. Just as a reminder as well, everything that you set in the break-even fees, if you have BuyBot Pro, it should mirror each other. So that way, if you're using things like the BuyBot Pro and Profit Protector Pro integration and you're using the auto min-max function, you can get discrepancies between what Profit Protector Pro says and what BuyBot Pro says if you were to look at the two separately. And that will be because there are mismatched settings. So it could be that your VAT status is set differently. It could be that a certain fee is set. It could be that a fee is set slightly incorrectly on one of them. And it would tell you on the integration what is different and what you need to set the same. But it's important to make sure that you've set this exactly the same as what you have in BuyBot Pro. Otherwise, if you just have Profit Protector Pro, set it up exactly as you see fit. You then have the option to set an ROI method as well, so a return on investment method. Now, there are 6 sums that Profit Protector Pro can do, so all you need to do is select the ROI calculation information, view the sums, and select the method that suits you best. If you aren't sure, method 1 is the most basic way to work out ROI, profit over product cost times 100. I'm sure if you Google an ROI sum, that'll be the one that shows up. Otherwise, if you are a UK seller, we recommend method 4 because, as you can see, it takes a lot more into account, including Amazon fees and VAT. With method 5, we recommend that for US sellers. So again, it takes a lot more into account, including Amazon fees, and it's all VAT exclusive. So you're going to get a much more accurate ROI. But ultimately, it's up to you. Whichever one of these sums has all of the things that you wanted to take into account for ROI, you just need to select that method from the drop down here. And once you have finished, you just need to click on Save Changes at the bottom. Now, the currency symbol that appears next to the fees will be dependent on what you've selected as your default marketplace in the PPP settings here. So when you go over to that page, it will say default marketplace. If you've selected UK, it will show pounds. If you select US, it will show dollars and so forth. So that will affect the currency. Now, this break-even fee section is like a general if you have different fees or different statuses or something like that, when selling in different marketplaces, you can switch the toggle from all marketplaces here to individual marketplaces. And this was added in recently. So as you can see, you've got the UK, France, Spain, Germany, US, all of the marketplaces that you have toggled on in the Profit Protector Pro settings. All of the marketplaces you sell in should be toggled on in the countries menu. And then that will appear in here as well. And if you need to set any fees differently per marketplace, then you can just come along, select individual marketplaces, fill all of this in. Don't forget to click on save at the bottom, and then it will take this information into account when calculating your min, max and break even, as well as the profit and ROI estimates per marketplace. So this is a really cool function. The fact that you're able to set it differently per marketplace, so that way it's a bit more relevant to that marketplace, is just awesome. But I can't emphasize enough how important it is to come along and get this set up as soon as possible if you haven't done so already. So that is the break-even fee section in Profit Protector Pro. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.